Okay, shall we make a start so we don't end up finishing too late? Hello and welcome to the OutdoorLads AGM. Um, we've got quorum, so we've got 39 attendees on Zoom, and we'll probably get a few more. And we've got 80 or so in the room. 81, we need 100 members, so we're ready to start. Hello, everyone. My name's Joe. I'm Vice Chair. I've got the job of chairing because our current chair is recovering from some surgery. So I'm sure we wish him all the best. Just some basic housekeeping. Has every paid member got their ballot slips? If you haven't, please shout out now. Lovely, thank you. There's no planned fire drills. Fire escapes are in front of you and at the back. Toilets, if you do need them, are down towards the bar, down the steps. If we've got any questions for various trustees or Liam and staff members during the AGM, if you could save those for the big question section, that'd be great, because we'll be doing that and counting all the votes at that point, so it can take up a bit of time. And there should be a Q&A feature on the chat as well, so you can ask questions on the Zoom call. Go ahead.
Can I just add to that? You've got your voting papers, but please don't vote yet. So we'll vote in turn as we get to each agenda item. You should have 7 papers in there. The top one's white. So if anybody has got anything missing, then do let us know, and we've got spares, we can sort it out. But yeah, don't go ticking boxes just yet. Thank you. Okay, so a bit of meeting governance to start with. First of all, apologies. I've only have 3 apologies, which is Rob Mitchell, who's our outgoing chair, who is actually attending online, so he's just apologising for not being here in person. And then Dan Blackwell and Will Alloway, who are also trustees, but they are the only apologies I have received. And as Joe's just said, we are fortunately quorate, which is great. And thank you very much, people, for turning up on time and not causing me too much stress and hassle. Appreciate it. Cheers. So the first item on the agenda is the approval of the 2024 minutes, which have been online for you to have a look at. So that's the first paper, the white paper that you have. So I'd like you to vote for either voting for or against accepting of those minutes. You can abstain. So in these votes today, an abstention isn't counted effectively. It's not a protest vote. It just isn't a vote, if that makes sense. So if you vote for or against those being accepted, and then one of my glamorous assistants will come and collect the papers in a moment. Oh, yes, of course. I always forget this every year. So first of all, can I have a proposer and a seconder for approval of the minutes, please? James Coldry is a proposer. Thank you. Tim Houston is the seconder. Thank you. Thanks, Mark. Item is on the accounts. I'll hand over to Stu, our treasurer.
Good afternoon. You'll see on screen a summary of our income and expenditure. Last year's is there for reference, and then looking at this year's. So you'll see some figures are in green. That means money that we have received in. The figures that are in red and in brackets is money that's went out. So it's a positive and negative effect. I did state last year when I was elected that it was my plan to spend money and actually start reducing our larger bank balance. So you will notice last year we did have a surplus of 3,423. This year we have had an overspend of 14,629. Maybe not as much as I was planning to overspend, but that was the plan to start spending money. So we have our total funds available as at the accounts at 31st of March. The cash at the bank sits there because, again, we always have transactions coming in and out and invoices based against different things. And then we have what we call our free reserves, because we have committed reserves that we must retain, because if the organisation is to close, we need to fulfill our contractual references with our office, our storage and our staff. So there is elements of that money that can't be spent, and they are committed reserves, and therefore our free reserves and what we have to spend this year is £240,385. So we're still very healthy on the account side, and due to that health, the decision was taken to remain with the current level of subscription funding, so they will not raise, because we are still in a very healthy position as we go forward. But it's always something we're monitoring to make sure that the organisation remains viable. So there's been 3 what we'd consider large expenditures this year, and these are always things we always talk about, open and honesty. So as I say, one of the large expenditures was amendments to the website. This included updating the cookie process that you'll have all noticed, where you have to accept cookies, as this is mandatory. And then we have moved away from Durell to another supporting system. This has been the big expenditure this year, as you can see on screen, and why it's took us near the 14,000 overspend. We've invested in our leaders this year. We have in 2 leaders weekends, one down south and one in central region at Thornbridge, where Peaky Weekenders ran. This allowed us to actually engage with the leaders direct and incentivise and encourage leaders on. So hopefully you'll have seen more events running this year, and we start to build in the increase from that side. And then investing in activities, we've reinvested in outdoor climbing. So we did require the climbing kit for the safety aspects of it. So those have been big expenditures that are over the 1,500 hitting the 2,000 mark. So they will always be raised while assets treasures from that side. Next slide is a slide looking forward. As I say, with a very positive start to the year. Again, big spring camp, very successful, particularly the bar takings. So thank you to all the members that were there and enjoyed the weekend. That's one of the things that keeps our organisation running. And again, this year going forward, we do plan further investment with some more leaders weekends to develop them, leaders training, and looking at other events and equipment. So I will say now we are projecting a budget of an overspend this year going ahead, as we invest in the organisation to try and grow it from the inside out, because the more we offer, then hopefully the more memberships we will receive going forward. And apparently I've got questions on finance at the moment that aren't waiting till the main question point.
Okay, in that case then, we'll move on to 2 votes. So the first vote is the pink slip that you have, which is for, against, or abstain approval of the 24-25 accounts, please. So if you could fill that in and send that to this end of the road, that'd be great. Sorry, yes, thanks, Mark. Sorry, Mark will sort you out with a name badge and get you registered just there. So actually, I need a proposal and a seconder for those again. I'm sorry, I forget this all the time. Can I propose James Coldry and then Lawrence Quirk for seconder? Thank you. Any more ballot papers that not been handed in? Everybody handed them in? Fantastic, thank you. And then just this next one, we're just going to do by a show of hands, which is to approve that we use Beaver and Struthers as our auditors for the forthcoming financial year again. So can I have a show of hands for that, please? Moving on now again to the election of trustees. Joe, do you want to say something?
When my microphone turns on. Yep. So before we elect some new trustees, as Liam mentioned before, we've got some other trustees that aren't in attendance and some trustees that are standing down. So I just want to take this opportunity for the membership and from myself and the rest of the board to say thank you to those outgoing trustees. That's Will Holloway, who was the members representative, Rob, who was chair, and Dan, who I always get the name of his post wrong and call it delivery, but it is the trustee for events. They contribute really hard to the organisation, quite really well to the organisation, and really proactive. But I've decided for various reasons it's time to move on. So if we could just all say thank you, and I'd like to propose a round of applause. Thank you. Thank you, and I'll hand back to Liam, and then we'll do the elections.
Okay, so we're moving on to the trustee elections. So there were 3 positions which we are electing to at the AGM today. That's the trustee for events, the trustee for members and safeguarding, and the representative member trustee. So for those first 2 posts for events and members and safeguarding, we opened up an advert for people to express their interest in those roles. People then applied for those roles and were interviewed by a panel of trustees, and then a candidate selected who the board is putting forward to be recommended. The board is recommending to the membership that you vote for that person to be elected. So that's the first 2 votes, and then we'll talk about the other one afterwards. So the first one is the trustee for events. And the person who was interviewed and selected to be recommended to vote for is Stephen Fayers, who is on the screen now. Stephen, unfortunately, is unable to be here today, but he has done a little video for us to watch. So if you watch that first, and then at the end, I'll ask you to make your votes.
Good evening all. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Stephen and I'm based in Cheshire in the Chiltern Hills in Buckinghamshire. I'm sorry I can't be with you there this evening as I'm in the midst of the chaos of a house move. I'm asking for your support in the application of trustee for events role. I joined OutdoorLads in 2018. I've attended over 100 events, led and co-led events, and some of you probably saw me behind the bar pretending I knew how to pull a pint as part of the big events team at Spring Camp this year. I'd like to hold the role of trustee for events as it's a role I feel I can contribute positively to. I'd be able to make use of my corporate skills to ensure the charity carries out its duties responsibly and sustainably. More importantly, I'd like to look at how we grow our events programme to open up a different range of events to a wider range of the Outdoor Lads demographic. The core of our events programme already serves thousands of members around the country, and I believe there are opportunities we can provide a broader range of events, for example by collaborating with other LGBT+ organisations. I also believe there are members out there that have passions for things of the outdoors, and perhaps they don't have the time or inclination to become a leader, but perhaps could buddy up with a leader to give more opportunities to people to try something new. I'm passionate about Outdoor Lads as it's changed my life for the better, opened the door to activities I haven't done since being bundled off to a summer activities week at school, and it's allowed me to make several new connections and friends. Thank you for listening, and thank you for your vote.
So that's Stephen's manifesto video. So if you'd now like to vote on your blue ballot paper 3, for, against, or abstaining for a vote for Stephen, please.
Just while everyone's voting, the reason we are doing these elections in this way is because theoretically any member could stand to be a trustee. But what many organisations do, lots of other charitable organisations, they have specific board roles that people apply for, and that prevents people just being a trustee for trustee's sake, because you can care about the organisation and contribute to the organisation in lots of different ways, not just being a trustee. But this allows us to tailor those trustee posts to something really specific, so we can get people with the best skills. And we've had some really good candidates this year, but positions were contested, and we even have a vote later on that is contested. And that suggests that we've got some really interested people who are committed to these roles. So this person has been recommended to you by the board. We've advertised, interviewed, screened applications, and then recommended this person to you as the membership. So it's your opportunity to support that decision or to vote us down. Just thought I'd clarify that, because it seems a bit odd, but it's just the way our articles and how they translate into real life, how we've decided to take it forward. And with that, is that all votes in?
Everybody voted? Yep, great. Thank you very much. So we'll move on to then the trustee for members and safeguarding. So you have Daniel here, who's in the room, and is going to come and say a few words before we move to a vote for Daniel. So do you want to come up?
Hi all. I wasn't going to do notes, but Liam has warned me to stay on time. So this is more to keep me on time than anything else. So I'm Daniel Lyons. You might tell from the accent I'm from South Wales. Been involved for a couple of years now. Outdoor Lads is many things to many people. It might just be a place that get us out more, get us fit, gives us opportunity to create connections. For some of us, it's a bit of a lifeline. For me, it's been all of those things. And for all of us, it's just about a safe space to be with other gay, bi, and trans men. That's really important. I've benefited hugely from joining Outdoor Lads and being a member myself. And I really feel that becoming a trustee is a way that I can give back to the organisation in some of my investment through career and volunteering previously. I bring over 20 years experience of community development professionally, and I volunteered since the age of 9. Doing various things, including previously a trustee role, but not trustee role for the sake of it. It was an organization I volunteered with for a long time. So I understand what the requirements and the commitments are to be a trustee in a charity. I've led, created, developed numerous membership and voluntary organizations and services ranging from Scouts to St. John. I'm currently a director for a charity working in England and Wales that delivers support services for caregivers. Working to, well, in the last year, I've doubled the scale of that network and outsourced or pushed out lots of centralized control to local membership through really tailored support. So I'm hoping that I've got a lot to offer the organization in terms of governance, in terms of how we support an active membership, how we provide transparency and accountability internally as well as externally, and really kind of further the work of the organization. So I hope Also crucially, that in doing that, we reach, and kind of it was spoken to a little bit earlier, how do we diversify and ensuring that we are reaching more communities, more gay, bi and trans men to be able to participate and benefit from Outdoor Lads. But really importantly, without losing the spirit in the organization that we all know and trust and love today. So I would value, thanks, I would value your support, and if through, I really look forward to working with you.
Thank you very much. So you got the hang of this by now. I think green ballot paper number 4, and you're voting for, against, or abstaining for Daniel Lyons to be the trustee for members and safeguarding. So has everybody managed to send their votes to the end and hand them in? Yeah, great. Fantastic. Okay, so moving on now then to the election for the representative member trustee. So it's the first in OutdoorLads' 19-year history where we have an election at the AGM, which is competitive, I suppose. But I think that's a really great thing. It's a really good thing. We've got people in the organisation coming, wanting to be involved, and that democratic process and is fantastic. So really good to see. So we've got 2 people standing for it, Lawrence Quirk and Tim Laws. Both of them are here today. Thank you very much. And I'm going to give you a brief little overview of why you should vote for them. Clearly, you can vote for one or the other. You can also abstain from voting, against both, and you can abstain as well. So please don't touch the yellow ballot slip until both of them have had a chance to talk. This position, unlike the other two positions, this position is not like screened by the board. Nobody's being recommended. It's purely on the membership voting and how they choose to vote. So it's hasn't had the same process that Joe described earlier going through. I think that's really important, that gives members a mechanism by which they can elect somebody in post who they feel better represents their views, if that's an issue. So in that case, Lawrence, can I ask you to come up and to do your little 2 minutes? And as Daniel realised, sorry, I didn't tell you, I will time it just to make sure that, because these have gone on before to like 5 minutes. So
it's all right, I'm used to winging it. So a bit like Daniel, I have a background in the charity sector, and I've been volunteering since I was probably about 8 or 9 as well. I was an altar boy. Do I look angelic? Yeah, so I have a background in working with lots of charities, including the Red Cross and the Royal Voluntary Service, both national charities, and work locally, regionally, and nationally across the country in doing that. And also spent many times working for a council of voluntary services. So if you don't know what they are, they support and develop grassroots organisations. So I would be supporting groups that want to develop a trustee board, and I've sat in many trustee meetings. Some of them don't go as smoothly as this. Some of them go on for hours and hours. And I suppose one of the things I should say is about my interest in Outdoor Lads. So I got recruited by a friend who invited me for coffee and said, "Oh, I go climbing with Outdoor Lads." And this was December 22. And then I joined in 23. So it's only recent for me. But actually, like Daniel, I hadn't realized what I needed in my life at that point. I'd had a heart attack at 50. It wasn't my plan. I was vegetarian for lifelong, for 30 years. Why would I have a heart attack? But anyway, so I was quite low, and I hadn't realized how perhaps lonely I was at the time. And then Outdoor Lads came along, and it was something that I really felt was something that I connected with. I'm a weekly climber in Nottingham, and both David and Stu supported me to become a climbing leader earlier this year, but became a social leader last year as well. So yeah, recently I think I'm clocking up about 150 events, which is something I'm, quite pleased about. I took advantage of my husband being away last year and went on everything I possibly could do, including Peaky Weekender. He does moan I climb too often, but what the heck. But I really believe in what Outdoor Lads does, and I believe in the membership, and I really believe in the diversity of what we've got here as well. And I think, I also now work for an LGBT charity, and I'm seeing what challenges we're facing in terms of just the constant battle for little things to sort of support people, and actually to be involved and included in things in society is really important. We have a lot of very anxious trans people in our groups that are coming forward, and it's like, there must be trans members out here that are actually feeling quite vulnerable, and what can we do as a charity to make sure that they are supported? So yeah, that's me.
Tim, can I ask you to come up and do your little talk. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm standing in the position of representative member trustee on the board at the annual general meeting. Yeah. So I joined Outdoor Lads 4 years ago, and since then I've done over 200 events and gone on to become firstly a lowland walk leader, and now I'm a walk and social coordinator for Greater London and Thames Valley within the South East region. I'm profoundly grateful to Outdoor Lads for all it's given me. Wonderful friendships, new opportunities, and above all, pride in my identity. It's changed my life, and I'm sure that's the same for many others in this room today. So next year, we mark our 20th anniversary, and we should be very proud of everything we've achieved and the progress we've made. But as I look at everything that has happened in those 20 years and the increasingly uncertain outlook, I'm convinced Outdoor Lads is going to be needed more than ever over the next 20 years as a special place for our community. So I'm offering myself for election today as I'd like to play my part in sustaining and developing our group on into the future. My academic and professional background in IT and data analysis and long experience of volunteering and leading in both local and regional roles in other spheres, as well as my current involvement with Outdoor Lads, I believe equip me to take on this position. Above all, we are a membership organisation. It's your group, not the board's group, and I look forward to representing your views there. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Tim. So you may now vote on yellow slip of paper, obviously voting for Lawrence or for Tim or against both or abstaining. And I'm really sorry that it's going to be one of you or the other, but that's democracy in life, yes.
I'll use this opportunity again to talk because apparently I've not got enough agenda items. It was I stood firstly when I became vice chair as members representative or representative member. I can't remember which one it is, and it's not a 3-year commitment like the other posts. It gives you the opportunity to see what we do from a governance perspective. After all, being a trustee is about stewardship, ensuring that there's another 20 years of Outdoor Lads after we finish the first 20 years. Has everyone finished voting? I'm passing on. Excellent.
Very good. Okay, thank you. So coming on to the next one, which is about our chair. So just to give you a bit of a background on how our Articles of Association works, it's not the membership who decides who's chair, vice chair, or treasurer. It is the trustees themselves vote and agree on who takes on those roles. However, trustees, when Rob obviously resigned, had conversations and people put their names forward for if they wanted to be the chair. And to show good governance and transparency, we went through the same process for this position as we have with the other trustee roles. So Joe put his name forward as chair, and Joe, despite being vice chair, was interviewed again by trustees to assess his suitability for the role. And trustees agreed that Joe is the person that they would vote for after this meeting to be chair. But we also thought it's important to give membership a view of this, and also to be able to say if they agree or object to the trustees making a decision for Joe to be chair. So to make no mistake about it, Joe comes to you recommended by trustees and staff as well, so that you do vote for him to be chair. Is there anything you want to say, Joe?
I always forget the 2-second delay. Everyone else had an opportunity to talk, so maybe I'll take that. Just so that you actually hear my side of the story. So I think was my application on the agenda items. I can't remember if it was sent out. Yeah. Okay. So you've read my application, but in summary, I've been vice chair for 2 years. I've got a background in healthcare. I'm an advanced practitioner within stroke in the NHS. I believe being a trustee, as I've mentioned, is about stewardship. I want OutdoorLads to remain inclusive, to increase its diversification, but to keep that safe space for gay, bi, and trans men without pulling the ladder up behind us. We have to remain inclusive. We have to be forward-looking. Looking ahead, I want to support and recognise our volunteers to grow the membership and reach across the UK, because we do have areas such as within the West Midlands and along the East Coast that there's a large gay population, but we don't have many events going on there, and we don't have as many members. So seeking to increase our expansion, to expand the organisation, and ensure that OutdoorLads is here for 20 years. So that's why I'm standing as chair, because I want it to carry on doing the good work that I've benefited from, and everyone in this room and online benefits from. So thank you.
So thank you very much, Joe. So again, if you could vote on orange bit of paper, ballot paper number 6, if you're voting to agree or object to Joe becoming chair of Outdoor Lads, and then we will collect them in at the end of the row again. Thank you. So the next one is coming on to resolutions. So when the papers went out, we asked for any resolutions from members. There was only one, and it's from me. It's really dull, but you might have noticed at the start of the meeting today a bit of flapping around how many people are in the room and are we quorate. So our articles of association at the moment say that we need 100 people at the AGM, and in recent years we've been very close to that. Today has been one of the more comfortable experiences, but last year wasn't as good, was it, Stu? We did make it quorate. So this resolution is just to change one little bit in our articles of association, which is to make the magic number that we need for a quorate meeting, reduce it from 100 to 75. So the reasoning behind that is that it's really important that we still have a good number, which is one, achievable comfortably for us to get there, but also we've not made it too low so that it's only a ridiculously small number of members, and it does ensure that it would still have meetings which are, you know, democratic, enough people there to be able to make good decisions and vote well. So that's the reasoning behind this change in the motion. The impact, if we're not quorate for a meeting, is that the meeting gets delayed, gets rearranged. That would obviously cost us money, time, and expense. And so it feels like an unnecessary risk that we're exposing ourselves to when we could reduce it to 75 and things being a lot more comfortable. So that's why I put the motion in, really. So that is what you're voting on today, to agree for that change to the Articles of Association, against it, or to abstain. So for the final time, if you could fill in ballot paper 7, the red one, and send it to the end of your row, that would be great. I need a proposer and seconder. I do, thank you. James Coldry, Alan. Okay, Alan. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, that's as Liam says, the boring bit done. That's all the voting done. We will now move on to a address from Rob, who as we said isn't here today, but has come to us through the medium of video, which Dan will put on the screen any moment.
Hi, I'm Rob Mitchell, your outgoing chair. I'm recording this message in advance. I'm gutted that I can't be in Manchester for the AGM this weekend. As some of you will know, I've had problems with my eyes over the last year or so, and the latest surgery was due to take place just yesterday. I was originally going to quote lots of stats about how healthy Outdoor Lads is. Our membership numbers going up, our finances looking good, we've got great leaders, great office team, and a really good team of trustees. But you know all of that stuff, so instead I'm going to focus on a few words from the heart. I never forget that I'm here not for myself, but for our members. We have around 1,600 fully paid up members and a staggering 15,000 pay-as-you-go members. That's thousands of members with thousands of opinions. Whatever view I take on issues as a trustee, I hope plenty would support it. But I know some will not, and that's absolutely fine. It's healthy to have different views in an organisation. As trustees, we listen, reflect, debate, then make decisions, exactly what any trustee should do. What is also healthy is a steady turnover of trustees, bringing in new ideas, new energy, new vision, and dare I say, some youth. This will keep our group thriving. Plus, we've had more competition for this year's trustee vacancies than ever before. That is brilliant. Sometimes, in our keenness to look ahead and plan for the future, we don't always take time to stop and appreciate where we are now and what our members have achieved for themselves and for each other. Let's all try from time to time to pause and celebrate what we've achieved in almost 20 years of Outdoor Lads existence. It feels like the right time for me to step down. Thank you to those who have supported me. Thank you to those who have challenged me. If being a trustee is not a learning curve, your heart isn't in it. Thank you to Yvonne, Dan and Liam in the office. Your information and advice has been invaluable. Thank you to trustees for our fantastic debates. Thank you to leaders and members across the UK. You are our sparkle. As for me, I'm going to pour myself a wee dram and get ready to head back out into the hills. Have a great time. Thank you.
Lovely. Thanks very much. And I think Rob eventually
I'm
figured
Rob.
out the technology to get online. You just missed a round of applause because we can't do ambience, Rob. So you definitely did get an applause. We're going to move now on to Gavin, who is our trustee for volunteers and leaders.
Thank you, Joe. And right, so I wrote this, but I can't remember what I put on it. Here we go. So the leader stats are looking quite healthy right now. We have gone back up to just under 200 active leaders, recovering from obviously a low point during COVID. I think it was 198 leaders have led an event since September 2024. Yes, that's right. So 1,447 events with 17,978 places taken up by members. I'd like to give some special recognition to our top 10 most prolific leaders, not including members of the board and staff, partly whose job it is to lead by example. But anyway, so it's so I'd like to thank David Hanley, Paul Eonton, Rob Carr, Kevin Rowe, Paul Farrell, Samuel Patterson, Robert C., Emrys Williams, Dave Forrest, and James Caldry for the sheer number of events they have provided in the last year, transforming the lives of LGBTQ men. So there are 325 active leaders on the website. That's a slight drop after the volunteer agreement was issued, I think, back in the spring. And so some members have not wanted to carry on being leaders and they've dropped out. But anyway, so here are the leader stats by region. I won't read them out. You can read them for yourselves. And it mentioned a decline there as well. That's the reason for the volunteer agreement being issued. So another people I'd like to thank are the regional coordinators. Now, before I became a trustee, I hadn't realized quite the big job that regional coordinators undertake. They support leaders, they support events organizers, they drive through with policies, they regularly meet to debate once a month, they implement policies decided by the Board of Trustees. And so I think Alan Dunn, Mark House, James Caldry, Tim Hewson, Skip Evans and Ian Williams deserve another round of applause. Thank you. The Board of Trustees working on, in conjunction with the regional coordinators, Project Growing Together, which is partly from my leader support plan and mostly from Joe's brainchild, the Project Growing Together, of which he alluded to earlier on. So we have identified particular regions up and down the country that are ill-served by Outdoor Lads, and the number of events in those areas don't reflect the LGBTQ population that are in them. So we would like to develop more events in Lowland Scotland, Northern Ireland, Northumberland, Lincolnshire, Leicestershire, Rutland and West Midlands, South West Wales and Cornwall, and Kent, Norfolk, Suffolk and Cambridgeshire. So our strategy is to support existing leaders in those areas, remove hindrances to leading, and to cultivate new leaders in those areas to provide more events to meet an anticipated demand from our kinfolk in those areas there. So we've had some success so far. I'd like to thank Chris Jalowski, who has regularly led walks in Lincolnshire, which is a big growth area for us, and also Alex Carroll, who's done the same in Cambridgeshire, leading a walk a month there, and they're very well attended. Other leader support measures include a clarified procedure for addressing habitual no-show and double booking members, which peeve leaders no end. Great acknowledgement of the contribution made by the leaders in terms of thanks and emails and hoodies being sent out to them, and more training opportunities. For instance, the one provided by Tim Hewson online about creating a web page. So thank you to Tim.
Now, this time you get to hear from me again, But this time, as I said, I'm looking to spend money. And one of the things that we have is the Outdoor Lads Foundation. This is basically the money that's available to you as the members for you to apply for any grants and that to help you actually enjoy the activities and get out there. A lot of people have the impression that the foundation is for essentially low income and people who need it. Well, in actual fact, it's not. It's available to every member to give you the opportunity where you might not naturally take it. Now, this just might be something, there's an extra event on that month that just doesn't fit in the current budget. Well, the foundation's there to support. It might be a new activity that you want to get involved in, but you don't feel the financial outlay is worth it at that point. Well, apply to the foundation. Use the foundation to hire a mountain bike for that first trip out to see if you enjoy it. You have not lost anything and you've actually given something else a go. So other paid activities, SUP and kayaking, hostels. Don't turn away hostels because you think, oh, it's just not worth the money. The foundation's there. Every member that's sitting here can apply for up to £200 each financial year to help you support you getting out. And it's not all about, oh, I need the money. It's just that opportunity for you to take and actually benefit more from the charity. It's why we exist. It's why we have the funds. So we just want to make sure the money's available for everybody. And it's about creating opportunity and taking that chance for yourself. Try something new at low cost to yourself and just take it forward. The more people who get in activities, the more word that spreads and the more people join. We can encourage bigger activities. Mountain biking, again, something we're looking to grow. But a lot of people don't have mountain bikes, but need to hire them. The foundation can assist you in hiring them from that side if you want to give it a go, but you don't want to put that money out there. So take away from this meeting, the foundation is not for low income. It is for every member that's out there that wants to take an opportunity. So utilize it where you feel would benefit you the most.
Just a couple of updates from me. One of which is, well, first of which is on the annual members survey, which I'm assuming everyone in this room completed, given that you're committed enough to come to the AGM. I'm sure you had your voice, made sure your voice was heard in the survey. Just a couple of bits of data that we collect every year, just to kind of reflect numbers. We saw almost an increase in every metric, certainly all those on the screen, that just shows, and so that we can demonstrate to outside organisations the benefit that Outdoor Lads has to our community. With the Outdoor Lads benefit making people fitter, getting them more sociable, increasing their friendship circle, because that's what it's all about. We as gay people sometimes need to choose our family rather than necessarily keep the one that we had when we were growing up. And then if we move on a slide, we move on to we don't just read the data, we do sit there, I promise you, we do sit there with our laptops and read all 400 or so respondents. We had a really big increase this year, so there was 200 or so last year, I think, and then this year is 474. I did sit there with a cup of tea over several evenings reading all the responses, most of which were positive, thankfully. Some of the key points, coming up to the key themes that we had, was about the social media posts we posted supporting trans rights after the Supreme Court ruling, and we just feel like that's really, really important. And we remain inclusive. We changed the language that our organisation uses, and that's changed over the years. It used to be gay and bi men, then it became gay, bi, and trans men. We've changed it to gay, bi, trans community. We're constantly evolving, and queer. I forgot about queer. We're constantly evolving as an organisation, incrementally to keep up with the change, but without excluding those in the organisation that do need a safe space. That we need a safe space for gay men. There's a generation of gay men that we've lost, and Outdoor Lads is a lifeline to all of our membership. But we also need to make sure, as I said earlier on, that we don't bring the ladder up behind us. We do need to keep evolving and being inclusive. Within the member survey, people also said that there's an issue with, I think Gavin mentioned this, with double booking. The website is a bit more technical and there's no straightforward solution essentially, but we are looking into paid solutions for that. It is thankfully only a small number of people. And the option we're going with, without spending 20,000 changing the way the website works, is a much simpler way where we're going to target those individuals, not in a violent or aggressive way, but just to remind them and prompt them that they're booked on 2 events and you can't possibly go on both events. So can you pick one? Because someone else might want to go on them. We definitely don't hunt people down with weapons. So the other is with could you put more on events near me or in certain areas? So we do take those. We ask specifically, what do you want to do and where do you want us to do it? So we are taking that into something I want to speak about in a second, which is Project Growing Together. And then also look at the feedback about priority notifications. Some of you may have noticed that Telegram, some of the elements that we use within Telegram have been turned off, namely the Marvin bot and the notification channels. That's because they were owned and operated by by an individual outside OutdoorLads. We didn't own them. So we thought that we'd bring it in-house. So we've introduced the RSS feeds, for which there is a guide on the website, and we're going to push that a little bit more because even I haven't necessarily figured it out properly. But we will get everyone on board with that. And we're also exploring some other options, as well as something that I'll speak about in a moment on the website to improve that for everyone. So the projects, so Growing Together, it's a twofold project, one of which is being managed by Gavin and the other trustees, which is increasing presence across underserved regions and activities. But also there's a project which will hopefully become the new trustee for members and safeguardings baby, which is improving accessibility and inclusivity across OutdoorLads. So that's neurodivergence, that's mental health, anxiety. People are coming to events and they're not necessarily confident and outgoing. They're quite anxious, they're scared. They sit in their cars worried whether or not they're going to go into this hostel for the first time. We need OutdoorLads to be welcoming and inclusive. It's great when you show up on an event and you recognize people and you know people because you've been on events for a couple of years, but there are still new members coming to these events who don't know anyone. And we really need to make sure that our events remain inclusive to keep new members coming in, to keep the lights on, essentially, and keep us going. In terms of a website update, one of our biggest expenditures this year is going to be some of the money that Stu wants us to spend is going to be in upgrading the website, so increasing functionality. Some of those web fixes, especially mobile fixes, that we have listened to the feedback. And we are investing in the developer to get those changes. And I'm hoping that we can promise, or at least promise that most of it will be done by this time next year. We won't have the same feedback in the AMS, which is fix the website, because we'll have done it. As well as the functionality, we're also looking at the content. So we're going to trim it down and make it a bit more cleaner to use. And we've had some really good volunteer input in improving the content on various web pages. That's the second project. The third project, and then I'm nearly done, is the OutdoorLads 20th anniversary, as it's been alluded to. So next year is our 20-year anniversary. We've got a great package of events, which the big ones of which are a bigger and better winter camp, which will be going live in the near future, and a big AGM event, which will be in the Peak District, not at Thornbridge for once. We'll be at a different event location, but will be an overnight event with hostel and camping and a bit of a ceilidh, a big celebration. So thankfully, there will be an hour where we're sat in a room voting and doing all that stuff, but there will also be a bar, a ceilidh, loads of events and walks. So it'll be a bit more exciting than this year's AGM. Lovely. And finally, I just thought I'd sneak this in. I just wanted to say a big thank you to our staff team. As trustees, we're responsible for this AGM, but with Liam as secretary, Dan as the Zoom coordinator, essentially, as well as doing all the work behind the scenes, we just showed up essentially and did some slides, and Dan's put it all together. We've got Yvonne in the corner as well, who's so everyone's contributing, and we're just sitting here looking pretty. So just thank you to all the staff. And I think that's me done, and we can move on to questions. We're going to pass one of the microphones to someone who can rove around to pass the microphone on. James will do that. And then we will do our best to pass the microphone back and forth to answer questions.
So I've been handed a question from Matt Tennant. Thank you, Matt. So the question is about the motion, and am I worried that we'll only get 70 to 74 people turning up to the AGM in future if that's our quality number? But I think my question to that is, no, I'm not worried about that, because we've never been that low. I think the last few years we've had a real improvement in AGM attendance. Next year's event, as we said, will be a big event weekend in the Peak District, so hopefully we'll get lots of people turning up, and then they'll be captive for the afternoon anyway. So no, I think we've picked a sensible figure there, which we can realistically achieve without any stress or hassle. Thank you.
Right. Okay. That was all the paper questions. James, are there any questions in the room? Can we have some hands up? We'll bounce back and forth onto Zoom because we need to read them and see if we can answer them in this meeting. No questions. Oh God, right. Someone ask a question so that I can read the questions on Zoom.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe there was a question raised last year about rebranding. Has there been any thought process on that, and whether it's an appropriate time to do it, considering it's coming up to the anniversary?
I think we've mostly focused on delivering the 20th anniversary, to be honest, Rob. But it is something that has been on the thought and maybe I could have mentioned it in my chair manifesto. There is something that we are going to have a bridge we are going to have to cross at some point, or make a decision of whether or not we're crossing it as an organisation. And the issues in the past have been it's outdoor lads, so it's a gendered term and it's a bit dated. And it's a decision whether or not we want to keep it, essentially. We as a board have had this discussion within recent board meetings and decided not to bring this as a resolution to the AGM for the membership for the time being. But I just want to say that as a board, it is on our radar and it is something that we are going to have to figure out in the future, whether or not we do or want to, and what those options are. That may involve asking the membership if any of them have got some really good expertise that they could lend us. Otherwise, we're going to have to pay for some input, or you're going to have to pick up something that I make up on ChatGPT. So if it's going to be good, because we have really the brand identity of Outdoor Lads is really big. If we're going to switch that, that's going to have a big impact. So we need to do it carefully and considerately. So if that's it's not going to be for this year, but probably in the next 5 years, we're going to revisit it, I think.
Derek Jones. Given that we've got cash in the bank and we're looking to expand the membership, can you talk a little to the marketing strategy?
So we did used to have a marketing and comms committee, and obviously previously in previous board's time up till 2024, marketing trustee. It's something that we are consistently trying to evolve, and it is something that we're trying different things to try and balance the cost of those things for the impact. So certain targeted events, I think, is it the Newcastle weekend or something, that we're trying to push on social media to see, because that is an area that has been highlighted that we need some growth, and we're targeting this big weekend, and we're trying to also use targeted social media advertisements to push that. And we are looking at doing partnership events with other organizations as well, which will increase our reach. Because we're an outdoors organization, so we need to do those things with either something with the aims and objectives of the charity. They either need to be an outdoors organization, or they need to be focusing on the benefit, the mental health, and the well-being of the LGBTQ community. So that's where we are currently. But when it comes to that rebrand or to that 20th anniversary, we do regularly have projects that we advertise for. So we probably would benefit from some marketing expertise on the board in the future, whether as a project or as a volunteer outside as being a trustee, because being a trustee comes with quite a lot of legal responsibility. It's not for everyone, but we'll definitely be recruiting support for that in the future.
Hello, Joseph Nellis. I don't know why I forenamed myself then. Joe Nellis. It's really positive to hear from all of the trustees and those standing for election today that we want to increase the diversity of the organisation. It's something that has been on the agenda for very many years. What things are we going to do radically different to actually increase the diversity of our membership? Even within those who we currently serve, we're not representative in terms of ethnicity, in terms of trans status, a whole range of different issues. And it would also be really great to see us use some of those cash reserves to put some money behind our kind of ambitions in this area and come up with some really great radical programs to attract and retain those memberships.
Yeah, it's okay. I think Liam was reading another question, so this one is okay. So it's part of the project Growing Together, the inclusivity and accessibility. We are not opposed to putting our money where our mouth is. Obviously, we've got the reserves, but we have got spare cash. We are seeing a growth in the BAME numbers within our organisation, but it's nowhere near, as you say, representative. But we've tried to approach groups in the past, some of which haven't necessarily responded when we tried to do those not cross borders, partnership events. But it's something we are aware of and something we are wanting to push for. The diversity of the organisation, when we see all these images that we push, we're aware that they have in the past been middle-aged white men, middle-class, middle-aged, white men, and that doesn't represent our community. It doesn't represent everyone within the country, and it doesn't represent everyone that's gay, bi, and trans and queer across the UK. So it's something we are looking to do. And if you would like to contribute to Growing Together, there is a project. I think the email comes to the office. So if people are interested in improving that for the organisation, we need volunteers to help us do that. So please do volunteer.
I think it's worth saying in relation to that, and I've got another question coming from online as well. which alludes to this as well, is that we have been trying to increase in our visual representation on social media, etc. Those that diversity of the organisation, and trying to make that a little bit more front and centre. And for example, on the annual members survey this year, there was some really good feedback from people, particularly around trans inclusion, our post following the Supreme Court judgment, and also just things. It was noted just things like having trans flags at our big events just send a really strong signal that people, trans people are always welcome in Outdoor Lads, and indeed always have been and will continue to be. So we've been trying to sort of make that more clear. It's sometimes quite a softly approach in terms of like you putting images out, and we're trying to sort of do that, but it's having sometimes all those resources that you can rely on to use in that way. So that's also something that we're trying to look at, how we can improve that and what resources we have to make that happen.
Just one question that's come through on Zoom that I've already answered in my head. Asking essentially, are we worried about the downturn in income and memberships, or potentially the attendance at certain events, so spring camp and summer camp, etc. And are we worried about that as a board? And the answer is no. Primarily because we've got a plan to revamp those events next year, which you'll hear about in the near future. Spring camp's going to be a slightly different location, likely, and revamped. And summer camp is.
So we have. I'll take over. Thanks, Joe. So we have, so summer camp is being rehashed for next year. So summer camp won't be happening next year. Instead, we'll be having a weekend. It's a bit more like the big peaky weekender, but it will be in the Wye Valley. Fantastic location. James and I have been to visit. An amazing location. So that will really reinvigorate that weekend. We will still go back to Worthing Rugby Club next year, and I'm talking to them about what that will be. Shall I say? Yes, on it. So we're probably going to do a big event next year for Brighton Pride, and use Worthing Rugby Club as a base, but so that we can get people to Brighton Pride, enjoy the day, and then have a fantastic Pride party back at Worthing Rugby Club. Some of the feedback we've had from people is that Brighton Pride's quite frustrating around the town, getting into places, etc. So we thought, well, let's do our own thing. So we're invigorating that. Spring camp this year, numbers were down a bit on our possible maximum capacity, but actually, if you look at historically what that event has attracted, it was on par. In particular, you did a great job on the bar, because although we were 75 people down, we were only about £1,500 down on the bar. So thank you. And the prices came down. I haven't to add, the prices for most things came down. Well, a lot of things came down. Hardly anything went up. So that was good. So no, I don't think we're overly worried. Recognise that spring camp needs some changes.
Oh, lovely. There's a question in the audience.
Just going back to the issue of being corporate, would it be an idea to have the definition as being a percentage of membership rather than chasing a fixed number?
So in the Articles Association, there is a percentage as well as a number, but I can't remember what the percentage is off the top of my head, but the number is the one that's always comes into play for us. So yeah, and also if that's also presents with its challenges if we grew a lot, for example, and we needed a massive room to get people in. So he's trying to find it frantically now. I think it's under clause 17. Yeah. So the articles do talk about a percentage as well as a number, but for our purposes, it's a number that comes into play.
So Liam, what we voted for today was not to change the percentage, but was to change the actual quota, the number of people you have. So you're not changing is that set by the Charity Commission? Or is that chosen?
So the Articles Association are based on a model document from the Charity Commission, which gets updated from time to time. We had more wide-scale, bigger changes to the articles last year. I mean, essentially, it's a template document which you then take away and tailor to your own organisation, your own requirements. So the original, the 100, is the figure that was in the template, but that template doesn't relate to a size of our organisation or organisations we are in any way. It's 10%. So that would be a lot of people
So
if
you're
we landed
keeping,
on percentage.
you're keeping 10% in the Articles Association.
Yes, that
but
hasn't
you're just
changed.
changing it to
Yeah,
75%.
so it's 10%, whichever is lower, you see. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
There's a couple more questions in the chat, and then I think we'll have to answer the rest after the meeting, and Dan will save them, unless anyone's got anything in the room burning. Any news? There was one that was said, any news for less able members? Yes, as part of the inclusivity and diversity kind of workers growing together, and as building on work that's already been done by Will and his team in the project group, which introduced culture and heritage events. We are looking at improving the communication about the level of difficulty in an event. So increasing the information that's actually on event pages about how difficult a walk is, how accessible a walk is. That can be for transport as well as kind of mobility reasons. But also we are looking at increasing that diversity across the board. Go on, James.
I'm going to say, and we've actually got a fully wheelchair accessible hostel going live shortly.
Excellent. Great news. And then there was one final question that I should have probably let you read first before, but it's really small and it's far away. So why is there no breakdown of membership figure on the slides or in the trustee report like there has been in previous years? Liam.
Thank you. Yes, they're not in there. That's not necessarily deliberate. Well, it's not deliberate. Being sent them out to you. I haven't got them at hand. But yeah, it's just didn't feel it. Yeah, I don't know. Basically, it's not deliberate. It's not like hiding anything. It's just didn't put them in there.
There are other questions, but we've got a few elections and we've got things to do. We've got some election responses to get back, some results and some awards to give. We're now about 10 minutes past or 20 minutes past that point. So we're going to close questions now, unfortunately, everyone. Thank you very much for those. We will save the ones in the chat and we'll move on to results if they've all been counted, or do I need to delay anymore? Excellent. Good.
Okay, back to me for results for the elections earlier. So thank you very much, everybody, for taking part. We just point out to you that for members that were not able to be here, either online or in the meeting today, we did open up voting online, do online in advance. So we have those figures as well as the online from people in the meeting today and the paper votes from people that are here in the room. So I'm going to go through the results and let you know what they are. We'll start with the minutes approval. So in total, we had 173 votes for that. 152 were for. Don't need to write this down, Yvonne. I'll give you this paper afterwards. 152 are for, none against, and there were 21 abstentions. So the minutes have been approved. Thank you. Moving on to the accounts, we had 175 votes for that. In total, 165 of those were for. There were 2 votes against, and there were 8 abstentions. So again, the accounts for the financial year 24-25 have been approved. So moving on to trustee elections then. So first of all, Stephen Fayers, who was standing as the trustee for events, that's one. Yes. So 177 people voted, of which 165 were for, 3 were against, and there were 9 abstentions. So Stephen, congratulations, you have been elected as a trustee. Well done. So Daniel Lyons for the trustee for members and safeguarding. There were 100. I haven't added that one up. How many in total? Anyway, there were a lot of votes, of which I'll go through all the figures then. 161 were for. There were 7 against and 8 abstentions. So well done, Daniel, and welcome to the trustee board. So we're coming to the representative member trustee, which was the vote which we had Lawrence and Tim both standing for the one position. So I would just like to say a massive thank you for both of you for taking this in a really good, I was going to say humour, that's not the right word, is it? But in a really good, positive way. It's really great that we're able to have an election that's competitive and have really good people coming forward to stand for the board. So the results are that Lawrence received 100 votes and Tim received 63. There was 1 vote against both of you and 13 abstentions. So Lawrence, you have been elected as a trustee. Congratulations. And I'm sorry, Tim, I know that means that you haven't, but thank you very much for engaging in the process, putting yourself forward, and I hope you continue to be an active member of OutdoorLads, both in events, but also with the work you're doing on the Growing Together, etc. So thank you so much. As well, yeah, thank you. So moving on to the votes for Joe to be chair. So it's very tempting to mess around with this, but I shan't. So you are still my boss. Yes, I'll be good. So in total, there were 174 votes made for Joe to be chair, of which 160 were for. There were 2 objections, and there were 12 people who abstained. So, well done, Joe, I'll say. But that's assuming that the trustees also follow through with voting you in. So yeah, thank you. Quick round of applause for Joe. I think that's appropriate. And then finally moving on to the resolution to reduce the number we need for a quorum meeting. 177 people voted. Though of those, 150 were for. There were 15 people against, and there were 12 abstentions. So that motion is carried. Thank you very much. And I know I keep banging on about this, but I think it's really great that people are taking part in, standing as trustee, putting themselves forward, and are excited and engaged enough about Outdoor Lads, really. And thank you to all those that made a vote online in advance or today in the meeting. So thank you. It's like the Liam show. I'm going to stand up for this bit because I just want to. So this is the Outdoor Lads Award. Sorry. Okay. So moving on to the Outdoor Lads Awards now then. This is the exciting bit of the AGM. And the whole purpose of this is that we ask people for nominations for who in Outdoor Lads leaders. Is it gone? Oh. We ask people for, that's better, for nominations of who in Outdoor Lads has made a difference to them, to the organisation, to what we're about, what we stand for. And there's been lots and lots of nominations made this year. So we asked for nominations from regional coordinators. We asked them from members in the annual members survey. And if you just put the slide up for me, Dan. These are all the people who have been nominated for events, for awards this year, which I think is a fantastic number, really. Lots and lots of people from all across the country and all different types of leaders and volunteers in other respects. So first of all, a massive round of applause for all the people that have been nominated. So coming to the first award, then we've got 6 awards. Mark is also going to present some of them, so you won't just hear my drony voice going on. So the first award is somebody who's a bit of an unsung hero in Outdoor Lads, I think, really. Generally quite quiet, but is an absolute machine at big events, pitching in with pretty much anything that needs doing, including all the shit jobs, to be honest. Collecting glasses, washing them up, moving stuff, emptying bins, cooking, washing up. There's no limits to his talents. And he does all the stuff that makes events happen. The wheels go round. You see in the back, you don't really see, it's in the background, but he does a cracking job. And I, in particular, really, really appreciate his support. I will say, before anybody else does anything, I appreciate all the support of all the people that are on the big events team. And unfortunately, I can't get them all an award today. But he makes a mean Guinness cake, which he brings along to most events as well. So Ian Fletcher, thank you very much.
It's become quite a nice tradition that I join Liam for this part of the AGM each year. That's one of the regional coordinators. Obviously, it's a privilege to be able to reward some of the leaders who have been given special mention. So the next person, there's been some lovely things said about him, which I'll read out. He's been nominated for his enthusiasm and his willingness to lead across a variety of disciplines, walks, socials, and prides, and to pitch in and lend a hand with some of the less fashionable events, such as the Pride stalls. He's really helped, someone said that he's really helped to alleviate their nerves, checked in with him during the event to see how he was doing, and he felt that he was able to go to him with any questions, and no matter how daft it was, get a quick and reassuring response. And he's thanked for his enthusiasm and his willingness to lead across a variety of disciplines, again, walks, socials, and prides, and to pitch in wherever's necessary. So this award goes to Lloyd Thomas. I don't think he's here.
Thank you very much. So the third award then is to go to somebody who the feedback we had says that they plan regular socials and weekends, which are interesting, different, well organised, very organised as an individual anyway, and thinks of everything for the good of the whole group to make it everything go to plan and very smoothly. Really good social leader. consistently very welcoming of new people, self-motivated, proactive, and make sure the weekend just goes really well. So really good to see like good leaders putting on great events. Ian Cassidy, come on down.
So the next award from me is for somebody, the nomination says that for the last 4 years, this person has worked hard to build up and maintain a popular monthly social event at the Retro Bar in the Strand. The event now regularly attracts 30 plus guys and provides a valuable way for new members to come along and see what we're all about. And that's particularly impressive considering that he's now relocated from London to Sheffield. He's simply a joy to hang around. He gets what it's like to introduce new folk to other people, and he's a real asset to Outdoor Lads. And that's Matthew Turner.
Yeah, there is a second page. So our fourth, I think, award today goes to somebody who's a really good leader, has been involved in Outdoor Lads for quite some time, took a little bit of a break from Outdoor Lads, as some of us do from time to time, but that's fine. But then noticed that there weren't that many events on near where he lives and wanted to do something about that. So he started putting on events off his own back again in Lincolnshire and Nottinghamshire and sometimes Derbyshire as well. As a result, our events program in that area has seen a real boost, attracted more people to the area, which is great to see. So Chris Jalowski, Chris Jalowski, congratulations and thank you.
So finally, this is an award for somebody, for whom it's been said that their walks go above and beyond. They're often quite unusual or more adventurous, and he often provides snacks for the whole group, provides walking poles to people that might have forgotten them. He really plans and researches the history of the places that he walks to. He memorizes a lot of facts to share with the group. His Crown of Dovedale longer lowland hike reminded this person particularly of Outdoor Lads walks from years ago in terms of being more adventurous. And in their words, when it sometimes feels like we're becoming a little bit too indoor lads in recent years. He always makes newbies feel welcome, avoids allowing any cliques to develop on his walks. And this person who's nominated him says he suspects that this leader might sometimes fear that his walks aren't as valued as much as they are, but he wants to reassure him that they are really, really welcome. He makes a great effort to make people feel welcomed and puts a lot of effort into the planning of his events. And that's our leader, Frank Bruce.
So I just want to say congratulations to all of the award winners today. Fantastic that people go to the effort of nominating them. It's even more fantastic that we've got people that deserve such awards. But also, can we have another round of applause for all the people who were nominated and unfortunately couldn't receive an award? Thank you. So we're coming to the end of the meeting now. Thank you very much, people, for being here today and inputting into the running of Outdoor Lads. Obviously, we've got a social event later on at the Cockatoo Club. So please come and join us for a drink and a nice evening there. We are just going to round up with a short video that came from Big Peaky Weekender this year, which is a really nice watch and sort of outlines a bit of why we're here, kind of impact we have. It's not like the great tearjerkers we've had previously, but it is a really nice little video. So thank you.
We love the outdoors, we love hiking, so why not join a society that is built around that? It's a great opportunity to meet new people. Everybody knows someone. You end up meeting so many amazing guys here, and we've made some fantastic friends that we see outside of the events and we spend a lot of time with. It's fantastic. Our first spring camp, no one knew each other, and we just sat there having drinks, having a laugh. It's one of those moments that you never forget.
I'd known about Outdoor Lads for a few years and I hadn't joined, and then last summer I just thought, I haven't got anything to lose, I might as well give it a go and not look back. Going on hikes or organising things like kayaking or whitewater rafting and stuff like that, which probably wouldn't do myself, but when the opportunities and the activities are there, it's a brilliant way of doing new things. I joined Outdoor Lads at a point in my life where I just moved to a new town, I didn't really know anyone, I was feeling a little isolated and I wanted to meet some new people. Definitely got out and about a lot more, and I've made a lot of friends for doing it, which I'm really thankful for. Now they are my support group, so we have this group chat together, we're always talking to each other, supporting each other, and going to these camping events is a nice little outlet and a good time for us all to get together and socialise. As quite an anxious person, I was really nervous about going to my first Outdoor Lads event. You've got to do it. You go along, it's really chilled out, especially if you just go for like a little hike or something, one of the smaller events. Get to know a few people, everyone's super friendly. And if you're nervous, just message the person who's running the event and they'll be more than happy to introduce you to a few people when you get there. So yeah, absolutely do it. You've got to do it.
I joined Outdoor Lads because it was an opportunity to expand my friendship circle, and also it was a great opportunity to be outdoors with like-minded people. It's just a really great sense of community. Growing up, I've always gone camping with my family, and this was an opportunity to build on that with a great group of friends.
That brings us to the close of this meeting. So I'd like to formally close the AGM. I don't have a gavel, but I could break a microphone if we could afford spares. Thank you very much for coming. You all contributed to the governance and Outdoor Lads today, so thank you very much.